And welcome to the Hidden Treasure Podcast, episode
Mm,
8 with Captain Mavis and
Captain Obvious. Welcome to episode 8. Everything comes looping around.
everything comes looping around in spring
Mm-hmm.
cycle beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
actually like that in more pagan calendar. Spring is the beginning of the year and it makes much more sense
it
than just like
is.
begin the year in winter. What the fuck is that? So happy new year, man.
Happy New Year.
Happy new cycle.
Very much so. And you know why this is a new cycle? In a way, it feels like maybe this is. I don't know if 8 episodes is enough to close the season. In a way, we are starting a new season.
Well, I think like 8 episodes per season does make sense since we're going to be talking about the 8 circuit brain model and the 8 maps and
Ah,
the 8 territories and the 8 colors of chaos.
I like that. So this is like the last episode of the first season.
Yeah.
And and as usual with the last one, it's also in a way it's already the first of the new one, because we conceived of this podcast as we were wrapping up the last Pipilotta journey, and now
We're wrapping up the last people on the journey. We conceived of this podcast when we, yeah,
on the
yeah,
last like on the last
on the
on the
solstice.
solstice, on the winter solstice.
I mean,
And
we had the idea before. No, we had the idea before. We were talking, we already gave it a title even before. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
already
we
at the
had the idea, but
beginning.
we didn't really like decide to do it, or we kind of like realized that it was time to commit to do it on the winter.
On the winter solstice.
And now we just had the spring equinox, and now we are on a new journey with the Pipilotta. So this will be the first episode since we started a next journey, and that's why it's
Ending and beginning.
yeah.
It's always an ending and a beginning. Round about, in circles we go. We have some viewers as well. Hello, Cielo. And hello, Valeria, something like that. I can't see the name anymore.
Nice. Yeah, hello, hi. So we just had the Venus Kazimi as well, when Venus itself is like conjunct the sun, so like on the sun. And this was yesterday when we launched the journey.
How is that relevant to you?
Well, it's part of this symbolic image of the rise also of spring with Persephone's ascent from the underworld, which has a sort of meaning for me at the moment. Still, well, because I feel like I'm ascending from the underworld, and yeah, life is resuming, and joy is resuming in a way in my life. It feels that way.
You had quite a long underworld journey. We were both this winter on underworld journey. I feel like I re-emerged a few weeks before you.
Uh huh. Well, maybe because it seemed like you did it intentionally. So you had yeah, and I was simply plunged into it, and it lasted
Yeah,
time.
fair enough. Fair enough. Also, I had quite a few of those like unintentional plunges into the underworld, and I know my rounds around it.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, I made an intentional deep dive this winter.
Hmm.
I'm curious though, like, I mean, not everybody maybe is familiar with what an underworld journey is. So I'm curious, what does it mean to you to be on an underworld journey?
Well, I mean, this was my first proper one. I feel like the Dark Night of the Soul is something that I had a, a, a good while ago. Um, when you're like, answering like the only philosophical question worth answering, the same one Hamlet was dealing with, to be or not to be.
Mm,
But then there's in this case, the underworld journey for me came at a time of astrological significance. I had Pluto transiting opposite my moon,
me too. No,
and
my Venus, my Venus. Yeah.
yeah, and this and Pluto takes a while, and it's finally this opposition is finally finishing also. And this and the opposite and this at the same time Saturn was square Pluto and the Moon at the same time. It was uh yeah, it was formative.
Well, they always are in a way if you engage, like if you it's a bit about like surrendering to that as well. Like if you're trying to claw your way out of the underworld, just make it worse.
Yeah, yeah. Don't resist. Yeah, that's with Pluto. Pluto, you cannot resist. It's like plutonium. It's like it's radioactive. You can. There's so very little that you can place in between you and this radioactive energy that will protect you. It's like no, no, no. It's gonna scramble your structures. And
Scramble your structures, which is weird now, right? Because Saturn is also about structure, so it's like this dance of like Saturn wanting to put limitations and structures on you, and Pluto going like,
well,
"No, let's dissolve it all. Let's
no, but I think
dissolve it
I
all."
was also because I was confronted with my own lack of holding boundaries. Yeah, my own lack of boundaries was a big player in causing this uh, turmoil, emotional turmoil, relational turmoil. Uh, yeah. So in a way, I learned a lot that I had been naive and too. Yeah, I had been naive. In a way, I had been an optimist, not out of courage and choice and because I knew what my strength was, but I was an optimist because it was the only game I had available to me. Yeah.
The only game you had available to me. What I mean, like, what do you mean?
What I mean, um, in a way, I was too dependent on circumstances. Like if everything is going smoothly, then I felt good. If everything was going bad, then I felt bad. And then my hack to get out of feeling bad was to be optimistic, so that things would start flowing smoothly again, even though I was feeling bad, so that I could feel good again. Um,
So like investment in pronoia, like
yeah.
conscious investment in pronoia.
Uh huh. And sometimes it works, but when it doesn't work, you
Uh,
uh, you end up worse off than you were. And I
yeah,
feel like now it's fun. Like, and this is again like it's a cycle. It's coming back. It's like, hey, now we get another spring. I feel energy, but I do feel like, okay, but I'm more careful. I'm more cautious, and I'm also in a way stronger. And
there
what?
was about like strength a very interesting shift that I noticed in you that was very clear, and also I found it lured me in a little bit more when you started confronting your anger and confronting those dark sides during your underworld journey and started owning them as well, and you were like, oh yeah, okay, this holy sanctimonious facade of pronoia and holier than you just crumble, and now I realize that I am dangerous as well. I can do nasty shit as well. There's like this anger in me and this hate in me, and I've seen you, I've witnessed you throughout this winter starting to own that more, and I think that strength that you feel now comes from that, from
Yeah,
having owned those darker parts in you that anger, the hate, that lusting for revenge, and all those nasty feelings that you might have been dissociating before in this like
Yeah,
paranoia investment.
distancing myself from and not allowing.
Mm.
And I feel like by grappling with it and allowing it in, I transmuted them also and made myself. In a way, I forged the sword out of them. And with this, I can set things in order. And yeah, also remove attachments. Remove attachments that don't work. Cut, cut, cut loose. We're doing a pirate journey, and this time I'm gonna. I looked up some pirate terminology. There's also the cut to the chase. Is pirate terminology.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So you have the rigging for the sails, right? You have the sails on the rope, and if you were like, oh, it's time to put the sails up. It's time to put the sails because we're gonna go sailing, and you have to kind of untie this rope and so that the sail can fall. But if you're in a hurry to get going, you can cut it, and then you drop the sail, um, and then you attach it on the bottom, and you go. So this is cutting to the chase. It's because you go after somebody else.
Because you're gonna go for a chase and then you need to cut the sails loose more rapidly. Awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello to the cosmic joke that just joined. The cosmic joke is such a great name.
Oh dear. Yeah. You
The
really
cosmic
set your
joke is on
egregore to
board.
work properly to assemble this motley crew here.
I didn't get the full sentence. I was still hung up on the cosmic joke.
Yeah, that your egregore is doing great work to assemble a motley crew.
Yeah, yeah. We got such a fucking juicy crew. Like, so for people watching, we just started our next Pipilota journey. We had the onboarding of the crew last night for the 23rd. Hail Aries, also love it that it actually fell on the 23rd.
Hmm.
And I think this is the weirdest and most potent crew of chaotic magician, witches, pirates that have come on board. And it's the biggest crew as well. And as you said, yeah, my servitor, my little um,
Yeah.
wizards and I had been doing a lot of intense campaigning the last weeks, but I think he did good spell crafting, not only in the propaganda we put out, but also I asked him to put the signal out in the newosphere, and everybody that showed up with like some weird synchronicities as well on
Perfect.
how they found the invitation, and like having an immediate, well, not some had some consideration time, but others were like, yeah, fuck yes, this is what I need. This is so weird. This is what I need.
I'm really happy. Uh, I think you're I think you're great. I think you do powerful magic, and it's really fun to be on board.
I didn't think you were gonna make it, but I was also just a synchronicity just in the last fucking minute.
Perfect. It's so, and that's yeah. So it's coming. It's everything is cycling, huh? Everything is cycling, and you, yeah. The crew is bigger, and that it's strong. It's a strong crew. It's gonna be a great journey, and I'm really looking forward to going over the same, in a way, the same loop around again, but this time in a way from the other direction. So rather than going in the winter where it's darkening to until the darkest point and then loose and then you're like whoa and then you have to, and now it's like okay, the spring is coming and we are loose on summer
On
solstice.
the solstice, yeah, right?
It's like
It's
oh
like it's good. Like we do deep inner work, we prepare, we do the training, and then at the cusp of summer, I deliver you all into now go out and play.
yeah, I think this is it's going to be so interesting. I'm so looking forward to what I can create, also simply to approach this period of time, so from the equinox till the solstice, in this sense of consciously creating how I will show up in the world during this time. I mean, it's always been a thing like, oh yeah, it's the sun, it's the spring equinox. Okay, I'm gonna make some intentions, and I'm gonna take like 15 minutes to reflect on. But this is different. Like day in a way, like week in, week out, with a pattern, with a structure, and indeed inside this synchronistic container envelope of inviting extra weirdness and extra transformation and possibility. Okay. Yeah, deepening.
I think it's gonna be really good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in the same time, I'll be moving. I'll be leaving this cocoon, this magical. I always refer to this place like my genie lamp. And I, especially people who have been here, when I say this, they're like, yeah, like,
You have your genie lamp, I have my magical refuge, my hideout. For me, this is going to be the 8th journey. Like, there was a maiden journey that I don't count in because it was just like basically after I started studying this material, was like, hey, I want to try that out with some friends. And then I put like 5, 6 friends together with it, like a Facebook group thing of like working through the exercises. And then me just like randomly dropping some videos of like, okay, this is what I think about this, blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
But it's the 8th of the journeys that where I had like a landing page and an invitation, and where there was like this idea of the ship already emerging. And the first, it was not a pirate journey at the beginning. It was just like a ship, somehow. But one of the very interesting in the first journey, it was just women and one guy, and this one guy, Orlando, or no, Orlando Verdu, he was a pirate as well. Like he was also already like having the pirate metaphor. Yeah, so he christened the ship as a pirate ship actually.
leave it up to the one man to plant the seed.
And since then I kind of like fell in love with the. I mean, I had been playing with the pirate paradigm before, for sure. Already with some other chaots, my chaotic polycule back then, before all shit went down. We also played with the pirate paradigm, so it was
Yeah,
like, yeah, Captain Havoc.
yeah,
My pirate name was different though. Like I still went mostly with like Captain Sharktooth Ursula back then. And I think maybe after this journey, a new pirate name will be emerging for me.
I mean, this is again 8.
8.
So this is also in a way the culmination of a cycle.
And it is a combination of a cycle as well, as I shared with the crew already. I don't know if you picked up on that because it came in later, but I sent you. I did send you the crew intro thing that my wizard wrote down for the crew. It is for me a shift also in the monastic path. So like out of those Discordian monastic paths that the Ordo Dea Discordia has, is 5 different paths of the 5 Apostle of Eris. I've been wondering for 7 years now. Right, this is the 8th year then also. Yeah, because I started 2017 with that. Yeah, fuck. I started 2017 with that. And 8 years on the path of Suicidasti, which is the path of the psychodelicious monk, which is about dedicating yourself to expansion and the play with states of consciousness so that you can tweak your psychology in whatever way necessary so that you can be okay with the outer circumstances and have some sort of like detached fun with everything around you while practicing radical indifference. And I practice this radical indifference in a way that like it really irritated my former flatmate. It's like, yeah, Mariana, and my ex also was like, yeah, Mariana, you can philosophize yourself out of everything and just like tweak and shape and reshape and shapeshift into anything so that I don't really need to take any fixed position and I can be okay with whatever is happening. And it irritated them, like this capacity of just like morphing and shape shifting my psychology to be okay with whatever.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes irritates people. And now I feel a different calling, and this has been like since I met you. You've activated that part of like, okay, no. I mean, it's not only you. I mean, it's also my return from my on the world, my meta on the world journey in a way. But the stepping into the path of dispute, which is another of the monastic paths, the path of dispute, and discord.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to fight for something, you have to care about it. And as you were
You can
describing
be
it,
radically indifferent, right? And it's
yeah,
like, I
as
mean,
you were
what is
describing this
happening
path, I
in
was
the
like,
world, it can't be indifferent anymore to what's happening.
yeah. And I'm also, when you were describing it, I was like, oh, that sounds fun, but it doesn't sound like it's for me. I'm not radically indifferent. I, 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 I get invested.
It was a good exercise though, because I used to be over invested in like, I mean, in all kinds of politics before,
Hmm.
and all kinds of passions and all kinds of things that would rally me up and trigger my anger and trigger my actionism and then have me take the torches and like, whoa, we need to fight this. And there was always fighting, always fighting. And I was exhausted of fighting, to be honest. I was exhausted of fighting. And this is where I also realized that sometimes when you consciously align yourself with a different archetype, the game field changes that way around.
Yeah.
Um, because a friend then that was also in politics told me like when I was like moaning about like how exhausted I am from having always to fight some battles. I was like, well, if you identify with the warrior, the universe is gonna give you battlefields to fight again and again, and more battlefields. And I was like, fuck that. No. Then I rather play it with a healer archetype now. And then the game world shifted, and I started getting lost souls coming for healing, and me having to do my own healing so I can be a healer. And at some point, I was like tired of being healer and tending to lost souls.
Hmm.
And now, I don't know, something new is emerging.
Hmm.
Something new is emerging. It's not just warrior. It's not just warrior because I don't wanna go to battle in the trenches. But this pirate fleet paradigm thing, like kind of like fighting an asymmetrical fight, fighting a battle of subterfuge, strategizing also to fuck with the empire and steal the riches
Yeah,
from the big guys,
and that's still fun.
redistribute.
That's not fighting against. That's not like holding a line. That's like finding fun quests, exploring like where are the weak spots, where are the the inconsistencies that you can point out in a way that is inspiring. Because this is in a way it's psychedelic. It's still psychedelic. It's it facilitates expansion of consciousness if you can make fun of something that seems overpowering. If you can laugh in the face of, yeah, if you can find a good way to laugh, like not just because you're mad, but because you actually found
Yeah,
found how silly something is. Something
well,
that's
like
pretty
not
fun.
mad in the sense of enraged, but mad enough to mad enough to take it on
Yeah,
somehow
yeah, man
and
enough to
go
take
fuck
it on.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
another kind of madness. But yeah, no, no. I think this 8 years of practicing the path of the psychodelicious monk of cultivating radical indifference and like tending to my own garden has brought me more inner peace. I mean, I see what's happening in the world, and I see all the shit show, and it doesn't get me enraged anymore. It's not that rage of like, this is injustice and I need to fight
Hmm.
injustice. It's just like, man, this is snafu, situation normal, all fucked up. So like, so shit is going down, shit is getting weird. Laugh at the cosmic joke, because I mean, how long have you sensed that shit is gonna go down in this magnitude?
I remember of this magnitude. I don't think I was. I mean, for a while, but the first time I realized that I would live to see shit go down, I was 12. Um, yeah, but that it would have this magnitude. I mean, let's say this amplitude. I wouldn't say the direction. I wouldn't say that I would predict how, but the intensity with which it's
Yeah,
happening. Yeah, for a long time, at least
it was.
maybe 10 years.
Yeah, yeah, it was also more for me like this lingering feeling of like something intense is gonna happen in my midlife
Yeah,
time, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be intense, it's gonna be weird, and somehow I'm gonna be called to play a role in that.
yeah.
Um
Hmm. And you are.
but I didn't see this coming either. No, I didn't see
No,
coming
I mean,
like Cheeto Man with like, like Discordian. Like he's also, I mean, he's an agent of chaos as well. Like
I did see Cheeto Man coming in 2015, even 14, maybe even, because
yeah,
I was
with
on 4chan.
you saw the kek
Yeah,
thing, and you knew you felt that the magic that we're doing was gonna be successful.
I mean, I wasn't doing it. I was like, no, this seems like a terrible idea. I remember posting stuff like, God, people don't do this. Not don't do this, but like, like,
Like
yeah.
conjure an
I remember
Egyptian
being.
god of chaos to be president.
I was very aware that I was like, I felt it felt strange and in a way like a privilege to observe that, but I also got a clear sense of like, don't contribute to this, like, don't take part in this.
Don't invest in that
And it turned
egregore.
dark quickly. Like the fact that it like incorporated Nazi symbolism was there early. Was there early? They were
Really?
making. There was a battle going on the boards itself to like uh, take this frog and turn him into a Nazi. That was something that was happening already on these image boards in 2015, and it was. I really. It was like there was a fight. This was not something that was unanimous.
So yeah, so we're up against a very nasty egregore. We're up against a very nasty egregore.
Well, I mean, it's literally like in the Illuminatus book, right? Like the great enemy of the Illuminatus. Like the whole point of that book is like the eschaton, the end of the world that is about resurrecting Nazi zombies. Like,
Out of Lake Totenkopf, yeah.
yeah. Uh, so uh, the fact that I'm feeling drawn to come to Germany at this time, and somehow it's like, well, everything is going
And I have not
after
made
having
it out
been
of
recruited
Germany.
to the Elysian Liberation Front. It's
Well,
like,
we,
okay.
we are recruiting. We are recruiting. Like, it was funny yesterday that one of the recruits was like, because you didn't get that part, but I talked in my intro when I was doing the story setting. I talked about the storm that's coming and how this expedition is shifting from me from this like more light-hearted research expedition to like, no, this is a training expedition now. Like we need to get the weirdos need to turn pro. Like we really need
Yeah.
to get our ship bearing, and we need to prepare for the storm is coming. And then I pitched them also, my Chaos Monastery idea, and I was like, yeah, and this is like, Eris and the Recent Liberation Front, and the Recent Liberation Front has has a role to play, and then one of the recruits was like, "Are we committing to this by jumping on the ship?" Like, no, 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 no. You're just committing. You're just committing to the journey, to the 3 months journey. It's a training. It's a training expedition. If you want to join the elf after the 3 months, you're very welcome to do so. But it's not. It's not like you're being recruited into something you didn't sign up for. But for sure, like it's time to recruit the elves.
Uh huh. Yeah. I mean, I do feel somehow that Robert Anton Wilson is just required reading for people at this point if they want to have a if they want to have agency and yeah, authorship of their own role to play in this time frame.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's too confusing otherwise. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, sure. But it's quite laid out there as well. And I mean, yeah, this a recent Liberation Front and the Ancients of Mumu and whatever, this like Discordian operations against that Nazi loving authoritarian autocratic structures. That's the yeah, that's the option that we have, right? Like it's the more Discordian, weird, non-linear subterfuge sort of resistance that we can put up in a
Yeah.
psychedelic, pranking, mind-fucking way to liberate people,
Uh huh.
from the technocratic trance.
And also to empower ourselves and everyone to navigate this time, because that's one thing that I've somehow felt. Yeah, start in the start when we're talking about like cycles of when did you start paying attention and when did you start feeling like something intense was coming and how did you prepare in a way how did I prepare for this was by training my intuition because I had the sense that when you have to imagine full scale upheaval like a flood or like an apocalypse where the maybe the earth rises up and it's like magma and you have like earth islands that you're just like you got to get lucky. It's almost random, and it reminds me again of this sense of when Judgment Day comes. You know, it'll be like the camel that has to crawl through the eye of the needle. Remember Jesus saying uh, a camel has a better chance of crawling through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter paradise. And in a way, it's like this. It's like, oh wow, you have to get so smooth
Mm.
that when when all hell breaks loose, you can simply put one foot in front of the other, and the earth will rise to meet you as you like walk off the edge. That you just have, yeah, you just have to cultivate the right attitude in a way to completely, in a way, like Jesus walking on water. You have to walk like that with the complete confidence that, yeah, I know, uh,
Trusting the synchronicities, that the
yeah,
synchronicities will arise and meet you.
exactly, exactly. And I am noticing that this happens as long as you remain sort of in what you need to do. So if you're a painter, you paint. If you're a musician, you make music. But you also take care of yourself. You clean your room. You exercise. You breathe right. You eat right. These are important things. And you be kind. Don't create unnecessary negative attachments. Also important. And also don't get distracted. Like I feel like when I get distracted, when I get sucked in, video games or binge watching series, then I can miss my opportunities. Those are the things that cause me to miss my opportunities. But
Welcome to the Crone one, and Leaving Art School is back. Hello, matey.
hello,
We missed you last Monday. He's back. Oh yeah, so you wanted to say something. You were pitching something earlier about like spotting the signs and moving with synchronicity. I think you're
yeah,
much better on that. I've gotten the feedback that rather in my container and on the Pipilota, I create a vortex for synchronicity. This is what like some of the pirates have been said that synchronicity seem to abound and condensate when people join this journey.
Hmm.
And I mean, I do spot. I mean, meeting you was definitely a massive synchronicity moment. But I think that mostly I do still have this like strong-willed. I have a plan. I am the magician,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna manufacture the synchronicities. But it's more like I'm gonna force my will.
yeah. Well, but I mean, I'm thinking in a way you are doing that, and this is also what holding space is. Like you are with your will and with your plan, you are making the container in which synchronicities happen for other people. You know, you create the space. And then there's also the thought I had was that, but there's degrees of synchronicity, there's layers of it. At some point, you get so used to it that you don't even register some things as synchronicity anymore. You're just like, oh, this is just how it works. And it's only when something is like, yeah. So there's just the flow. You're like, oh, but that's just the flow. It's not really a synchronicity. It's simply how things go. And then on top of that, you can have like, okay, really great timing, things that happen, plus a deja vu feeling. Then you're like, oh wow, this I call a synchronicity. But if you're in a way just arriving to this path and to this awareness, it's like, oh wow, you enter into the flow, and that's already like, oh, this is synchronicity. But there's like, in a way, degrees of it.
Deja vu. Yeah. I had a moment of deja vu also on Saturday with I had my first trip sitting client, paid trip sitting client, and he was sharing something or like was looking for a thing to connect his phone, and I really exactly that scene like where he tells me where can I put on this phone, this charger? Can I use a USB stick or do you have like a thingy? Like fuck, okay, this is synchronicity. And that's been happening a lot as well. I mean, I made the decision at some point, like, yeah, I'm gonna offer trip sitting, and I've
Hmm.
not advertised it at all. And then just like for some weeks now, people have been just coming out of the woodwork and asking if I do that and if I would do that for them. And
Right. I think this is like the higher octave of your healer, but also like the healer in the psychonautic role.
cosmic customer care
Yeah, where they come
agent.
together, it's like, yeah, it's no longer about lost souls. It's about self-actualization.
You gave me a new title there the other day. That's self actualization doula.
Yeah, yeah. This is great. The eight is like the one that in the tarot you have the eight sign, the Lemniscat floating above the magician, and the strength card.
Mm. But in the Crawley tarot, also the two of discs is this like the eight, the Ouroboros snake. We've been missing you too, living art school.
Mm,
We've been missing you too in this Monday transmissions. So yeah, the cycles of eight beginnings and endings is 8 years of Shisiadasti path and now stepping into a path of more active dispute against the system, warrior monk style.
yeah, in a
Eight
way,
journeys on the Pipilota, eight episodes of this podcast, eight circuits that we're gonna be talking about, eight colors of magic, a lot of eights popping up right now. Wow.
yeah. But the eighth circuit is also where the veil is thinnest,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's the place of death and dreams. You mentioned storm cloud dreams. I had a storm cloud dream. I had a dream about
The same day. We both had on the same day the storm clouds
I
came,
think I
right?
had it on the next day.
Hmm.
But I remember that their storm clouds were gathering where I was, and I had a sense of, oh, a lot of water is falling. I'm going to collect this water and use it to whoosh, wash away obstructions and barricades, and use it to overcome, um, in a way, the force through the power of nature. And I simply went up like this, with like a cupping hands up like that to collect it. And it was
Hmm.
kind of a symbolic act. I was just standing there like this to, in a way, welcome the water, welcome the rain, and to symbolize, like, hey, this is my. Is I realize this is like a meme. I'm going to do this as a meme, um, because I had a intuition that all this water was going to collect, and then it would be able to be released and wash this thing away. And by being the first to, like, act something out to bring awareness to that happening, it would help later on when things would happen, that it would be like, oh, he was that guy who was like the first with his hands up, so that I would gain some credibility for future shenanigans.
And then monkey see, monkey do.
Right, exactly. So this was like giving me a little bit of a.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like, it's,
did have the sensation already since meeting you as well that you are going to be also somebody that is going to take a leadership position in this. Somebody that others will follow example.
I mean, if it must, if only if it must. I'm not really. I wouldn't seek it out, you know.
But the best ones don't. I mean, abgesehen davon, like it falls like natural into the Leoness of things. But for me, I mean, all all around my youth, I also never claimed leadership positions. They were always like kind of like helped upon me. It's like
Yeah.
a, a thing of, I don't know, people was just whatever group I entered into that I became part of very shortly after everybody decided that I should be the one taking responsibility or leadership. And that kept repeating, and at some point I was like, okay, fuck, like if people just like naturally follow me, I need to get an idea where I'm going.
Might as well be a pirate captain. Yeah.
I might as well be a pirate captain now.
Well, there was. We mentioned this earlier about like getting a sense, getting a longer time ago, getting a sense like, okay, something intense is going to go down during my lifetime, and how am I going to prepare for it? And I do remember, in a way, lamenting. I realized that I realized this was coming, but it was going to be a while. When I was around, or in my early 20s, I was like, damn it, why can't I be in my early 20s when it's happening? Because in part because I didn't want to have responsibility for the moment itself, and in part because I wanted to feel like, um, yeah, I wanted to have the most energy while it was happening, or I wanted to have my whole life ahead of me after it happened, to be in the new world, and get to see that as much as I could, in a
Mm.
way. But yeah, now I'm like, I wouldn't say pushing 40, but pushing 40, and and now it's happening. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's hard.
Man, like I feel that so heavily. I mean, I'm past the 40 mark. I'm on the 42, and Like for years, I've been like more like, nah. It's like at some point, I'm just gonna like the monastery. I'm gonna do the monastery and then like fuck off from the world and not engage anymore because fucked up shit. And now it's more of like maybe there's another mission before I get to retreat into a monastery.
Yeah.
That's more active and yeah.
Hold on.
Ow.
I had to plug in. So, um, there
So
was.
yeah, cycles of 8 and cycles of 7 as well. There's also something about the cycles of 7, like the 42,
Uh-huh.
the 35, and the 42.
And I just remembered. Astrologically, there's also a cycle of 8 coming right now that I forgot what it was, but it's worth to look into. Something happening every 8 years and every 16 years. So I think we are even onto something with this 8 cycle that we don't even know what it is. It's not just our personal life that is like this right now.
Well, uh, yeah, I've been looping on the 8 now for years. So 8 circuits, 8 colors of magic, 8 rounds on the PP Dota, 8 years of Sri Siddhasti.
I think we're approaching. So well, speaking of 8, it's also wrapping up. Let's approach the end. We are 45 minutes. Um,
So what are the signs that I'm not seeing that you said that? How can I get more attuned to follow the signs? That was what that was
oh,
the thing you wanted to show me.
oh well, it's just yeah. So there's things cycle around, and in some elements repeat, and some elements evolve, and
Mm-hmm.
some elements devolve perhaps if you've let something slack. Um, and where you see growth, new lessons open up, and in a way, service. I remember that on your last journey, you started with the intention of expanding your capacity for service, and I feel that you have expanded your capacity for service, and there's a literal manifestation of that is in that the crew is larger than it used to be.
Yeah, and also more advanced. I think like the previous crews were a lot more of the lost soul kind
Variety.
of archetype, and we have still some of those that are struggling and are in the midst of the storm and are using this journey to reconfigure themselves. But there's also quite a bunch of very potent magicians and witches that are very well in their power and just joined because it's like, yeah,
I
the
mean,
sun.
both can be true at the same time. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I had this last cycle around. I was on the lowest point in a way in my life for a long time. So it was. I wonder how in order to go up into the heavens, we have to go down into the dirt. I wonder how high I'm gonna launch this year.
and Pero Ali also used to say, in order to fly high, you need to plant your feet firmly on the ground. And I think that is one of the quotes that stuck with me the most as well, and why I termed the course at the beginning like the Balanced Psychonautics quest, because that was my experience as well. I've been like dabbling with magic and psychedelics, and then all shit broke loose. And the last years have been a lot about doing the groundwork, coming back to doing the fucking groundwork, doing the circuit two work, cleaning up my emotional shit, owning the shit, um, revamping my whole social navigation game, taking a new path, reconstructing identities. Now the work that's on the ground left for me to do is to take care of my body, get my body back into fighting shape, increase my vitality, my energy, and also my capacity for play. And this is I set the same intention again of
Hmm.
serving the crew to the best of my capacity and expand while expanding my capacity to serve. But at the same time, another intention for me this year is to get really fucking ripped. Really go back into training and weightlifting, and at some point also some form of martial arts training, because I feel like, yeah, even though if we're not back into the trenches and taking the fight to the line, I think it still needs to anchor, to fucking properly anchor in a strong and healthy body.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's
because I mean,
crucial.
even though s- skirmishes can still not be ruled out entirely.
Yeah, Nazi zombies, huh?
I mean, we we went over the topic of Nazi ideology before, and I really think that there's a meme that touches on this when people say, when you scratch a liberal, a fascist bleeds. Like liberalism is only skin deep because liberalism is just the pleasant face for fascism underneath. Um, but in a way, for me, fascism is only skin deep because underneath is our frightened children
Mm.
who are not supported and who have their needs go unmet, and they get
And they freak out in the face of uncertainty and rapid change and things moving fast, and
and
then
then
they
they
call
get
for the
handed this,
strongman.
this convenient outer shell of, oh, we just harden up and get get violent and unpleasant. Yeah, it's exactly. It's the fear. It's the fears that. So this is for me. It's not really. I don't think that people are genuinely like to the core convinced that this is right. I think that people can.
They
That
want
people can.
security. They want security. They
Yeah,
want
I think there's.
control.
Yeah, well, but why? Are these core needs? Are those real? Like they want this because they want it, or do they want it because they believe that it will help them avoid the pain they fear? And I feel like there is a capacity to tap into much deeper desires and needs and beliefs and feelings. I think that one of the things that make death cults, which fascism is one,
Hmm.
so tempting is when you have nothing to live for, or when the thing that you have to live for is hollow. And yeah, our culture has been missing that connection and joy and aliveness and vitality, um, and, and this, yeah, in a way, all the things that get reawoken through psychedelics, these have been missing. And for me, I think Terence McKenna has been my teacher and my beacon of sanity. Which is, uh, for better or worse, of course. But I would say for better because I think when you describe that you see that I have a role to play, I feel like the role I have to play is to keep reminding, I keep bringing up this source that is inside everybody. Like, hey, but look, we have, a brighter something is also being born, is also always wants to be present. That is in a way goes much further back, is much more ancient than the relatively recent fears of isolation and lack and selfishness. These
And
are
also the capacity to keep laughing and keep playing and keep experiencing joy, even in the eye of the storm, even when shit is going down into gloom and doom. Like maintaining that capacity and that freedom for just like wonder and joy and play and aliveness, right? This is what is gonna be actually revolutionary.
right. So that's why it's nice to be on a springtime journey. Yeah,
The stakes are high, but we're gonna still gonna play the game, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about this crew,
yeah,
and I'm really excited about also doing the work because every time on the Pipilata, I also need to do my work and I need to do the level ups, and I feel like this time I need to take my own work even more seriously, not only just being in service to the crew, but also being
I
more
think
serious
more.
about my own training and my own work because big
Yeah,
waves are coming.
and you shared with me your co-star, like reading or guiding notes from the day of the launch or from yesterday,
No, this was from today.
from today, and I felt like, yeah, they are pointing out at this sort of taking a little bit of a step back and really being more the captain and less the chaplain of the journey.
More the captain than the chaplain.
Yeah, to like keep a bit more of a keep a little bit of a distance in a way, like
So
to stay,
let the quartermaster do more work.
yeah, stay mission oriented. Yeah, and that it's a lot about, yeah, you do your work and share the tips. Like in a way, you take your own medicine and you share how you're doing that and share what are the key things that you've learned over your time of working with the 8 circuit brain model for each circuit. It's like really, in a way, this, yeah,
Like take more time to distill the medicine and serve it more distilled,
yeah,
and allow the quartermaster to be more active in taking care of the crew.
yeah.
What's your role gonna be on this ship? Like we're gonna present some other roles, and you had a very specific role in the last crew, which I think not properly disbanded you from because the moment where I did, you called me off, you called me out like Captain. That's not the right time
Oh
to
yeah.
release that commitment because I wanted to smoke some pot, and then we did
Because I
never
think
do
it
that.
was also because it was somehow it was a moment where it was convenient for you to not have me there as this. You're like, oh yeah, you're fired basically. I was
You're
like,
right, yeah.
ah.
But it was also the solstice. It was the end of the solstice. It was actually the right moment to also relieve you from that, but you wouldn't have it. So you're still my insoup. And you've been acting in a way also still over all winter, my insoup, because I've been giving you my reports of my progress and you've been letting them uncommented and you've been giving me shadow feedback.
And you did warn the crew to off board because you were taking the ship on a underworld journey, and I do feel like I was keel hauled like a barnacle through the underworld for a good while.
Did you not jump when I told you to
I
jump?
think I jumped, but
But because
but maybe there was somehow I felt as I jumped there was this green rope behind me going.
well, you left your butterfly here, your firefly here.
Yeah, exactly. I think I got to, and I had the green rope that eventually like. Yeah,
But I was also keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, I know. You were. You were. It was helpful. And we were doing this podcast in the same time, and I think it helped to bring something back from it. It's like the same with psychedelics or with dreams. Everybody can get high, everybody's dreaming, but doesn't mean that you always have something to show for it. That you bring up some insight that is becomes shareable and that becomes, yeah, like a result, a pearl.
Well, a good friend of mine and mentor in this psychedelic journey thing once told me that's the difference between a drug user and a psychonaut. The psychonaut can go into the deep, can go into the underworlds, can go into the other worlds, or can go into the altered state, and they bring back some treasure. Uh, the drug user is just getting high.
Yeah, and in this sense, I feel like it's been helpful to do this podcast with you and um, have it as an anchor and a touchstone moment in a way, not to just, yeah, not to just be in the underworld, but to process it consciously and, yeah. So in a way, I'm getting excited about now. We go the other direction towards the days get longer, and what if I get into the overworld after? Like, what if I go into a
Well,
bliss journey for 6 months after?
yeah, well, you need to do the groundwork in the next 4, 5, 6 weeks that we're going to the lower circuits to really hit that groundwork. And if you have a solid grounding, my friend, you can take off into the summertime into.
Excellent. I think the main moment will be on the dance floor at Sci-Fi. That's gonna be something. Looking forward to that. Okay,
Okay, so
we did it.
what's the hidden treasure for tonight, Captain Obvious?
Maybe just that. Like everything comes in cycles. After the underworld journey comes perhaps the overworld journey, and just in time because showing that you can find and create joy together by taking your inner personal work seriously and sharing it and making it a communal act. We kind of take back the reins of life as a spiritual journey, and this presents a framework for where to go from here, because we are collectively, humanity is coming in like also an ending and beginning cycle, and it needs a seed it needs a starting point, it needs a, and in a way we are taking, by doing the inner work, we're doing the Ram Dass thing. you know all I can do for you is to work on myself, and all you can do for me is to work on yourself. And by doing that inner work and sharing our, you know sharing our hidden treasures from our inner journey, we contribute something to that collective evolution. And the fact that it gives us now the chance to be excited and looking forward and looking up at a time when so many people seem to be scared and, like, yeah, stuck with the Fnords. It's like, yeah, we.
Do you see them? Do you see them? See them? Do you see them?
So yeah, that's the hidden treasure here. Is that the work, especially the hidden treasure here is simply underworld journeys pay off.
On the world journeys fucking pay off. Indeed, they do.
Yeah.
Do them in winter. It's good to do them in winter. Come
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
spring, emerge like
Because
Persephone from the underworld.
you need to go deep down in order to get your roots deep down if you want to extend your branches and your leaves
Mhm.
and your flowers into the heavens.
And if you want to withstand the storm,
Oof, oof. And the storm is
deep root,
brewing.
deep roots, deep roots. Do the work. Do the work. And
And support the
yeah,
others.
support
Because
the
a
other.
forest is a much better place to be in a storm than as a single tree.
Yeah, and a crew,
And a crew. So
and
yeah.
a crew.
So you're doing it like this journey of taking responsibility to cultivate the depth, resilience, and expansion of those around you. That is, what if the real monastery was the friends we made along the way?
Uh, I have made a few friends along the way by inviting people on this journey. You're the closest one of them that has no, not even, because Judith also came onto this journey, is now my flatmate. Um, but yeah, like you've become quite a close ally after this journey. So I'm very grateful for that.
Me
I'm
too.
very happy that you're back on the ship. I really is gonna be good.
Me
I'm so
too.
curious what fucking role you're gonna play, because it seems like other people want to be my insub this time.
Sounds like I managed to dodge this question once again. How excellent.
You're very good at dodging the questions. You're very good at dodging the questions, evasive to the.
What is that guy doing here?
I'm gonna call you out though every time.
Uh
I'm
huh.
gonna call you out on your evasiveness.
Very good.
Um, yeah. So this is
But
the
I did get the instruction. My instruction for this journey did involve a little bit of a uh, to lay low. I'm laying low a little bit in it. So yeah, let's see how that plays out. It's not my strong suit, but it
to
can
lay
be.
low.
Yeah, no, it can be.
I don't know. We'll see about that. I mean, you're still here, my core recruiter for the elf.
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah. But this is also something that can be done from a
Laying
position
low.
of modesty.
And you're still on the mission to like fully claim your captain's hat.
Uh huh. Yeah, but I think also this time, one thing that I remember going, because I was so distracted and so going through it the first time, in a way, I felt like I kind of skipped the actual material,
Mm,
the actual like coursework.
mm,
So maybe I
yeah,
will take that a little bit more diligently and slower, and take the time also to reread Prometheus Rising. To be fair, I haven't actually properly read it through even once, so just to read it properly, yeah, I think maybe it's a little bit of a study trajectory as well.
to go deeper into the course. And I think also like the quest, you let last journey, you let the quest just come to you, and you were like, I don't do homework, shit, like da, 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 da. I have this resistance to doing homework.
Uh huh.
You also had resistance to follow someone, and then it's like, okay, yeah, you feel like somebody I can call a captain for a while. So now it's about time to overcome your resistance to homework and do the actual fucking quests and do the actual fucking work in a more steered manner, like really choose your quests and not let just the universe present you the quests.
Hmm. Just to experiment with it. Aye, aye, Captain. Whatever you say, Captain.
Whatever you say, don't salute though. This is not the U.S. Navy. Uh, yeah,
and a
so
side
fun. So
hobby.
many synchronicities on board.
Hmm.
However, let's wrap it up.
Yes,
And we'll let you know, the audience, that now we've started the Pipilota journey
yes.
again,
So that's going
for
to color the next.
season.
How many episodes will that be? Like how many weeks are we actually in until the?
We're like in for 12 weeks of journey at least.
So until like episode 20, it's going to be extra piratey and specifically about the eight circuit brain model and the things that we discover with the crew as we make this journey. So yeah, in a way, we're up until now it was kind of a test run. Now we go and take this podcast also on a quest.
Yeah,
So
we're just like warming up to the format and like feeling our vibe, and checking out how we vibe together as podcast co-hosts.
mhm.
But my original intention when we first envisioned this was to actually, yeah, talk about that, talk about the gaps in the maps and the hidden treasures and where the dragons be, and
And bring also the crew
mhm.
on to talk about it. So we might this season we might see more guest appearances and yeah, a little bit more concrete going into clear teams. So if you're into that, if you would like to see us riff slightly less and be a little bit more focused, yeah, stay tuned. We are in for a ride, and it will be somehow very personal, very communal, but also touch on
The maps,
wider
the circuits, and the
planetary and
territory.
cosmic, the way everything overlaps. The personal is political, and the personal is everywhere. It's a fractal.
And since we're both back from our underworld journeys and now more attuned to the mission ahead, yeah, you can expect a little bit more focus on our transmission while still keeping the raw aliveness of the conversational flow
We can
that
only
we.
hope.
Well, we're still not gonna script it. I mean, we're gonna have some topics, but we're
Yeah, no, I
still.
know. It was just a joke, but
All
we're
right,
gonna have topics.
we're gonna have
Oh,
topics.
that does sound like homework. I think I have some growing to do here.
Oh,
Mm. Ooh,
ooh.
I have my Chiron in Gemini, and Gemini is also very much this um, sign of intellectual exploration, and yeah, in a way, it's a sign of homework. To me, it's kind of the sign of homework. So for me, maybe doing my homework is healing. Homework is healing at this point for me. So maybe I should just take that. Take that.
Take that a bit more seriously, the homework. Mm.
And maybe that's why I have to, in a way, lay low and not really have a role because I always use having a role to play as an excuse to get out of homework. Ooh,
Oh,
ooh.
I'm already the captain's in soup. I don't have to do my quests.
Yeah, that sounds like goblin nonsense if ever I heard it.
Okay, okay. I'm curious. I'm curious what that will do to you if you start taking the work and the content and the material a bit more seriously. I'm looking forward to it. We'll unpack it. We'll unpack it a bit in the podcast.
Yeah, and
I'm
I
gonna.
imagine that in the process we will also, because it's the end of the cycle and a new one. I envision or I predict, how it goes when you say a prediction to people that it impacts. I predict that you already said that you were going to re-record things,
Mhm.
like that you were going to rewrite it and re-record it, and I think this journey will really um, provide in a way the push and the impulse and the incentive to do that.
Well, I think, yeah, yeah, yeah. But also what I have in plan with the Substack publication, right? Because I plan to yeah, make posts about the single maps. I'm gonna start also with this. that's what I thought. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna start with the balance maybe, and then go deeper into the maps, and then like zoom ins of the maps and stuff like that. So that there's
Mhm.
really an intention to rework the material, and maybe before I re-record the videos, I need to really sit down and do some new writing
Yeah,
to like
yeah, yeah.
actually order my thoughts. And this is again the quest scrolls were the first thing I wrote like 4 years ago, and they need a massive override. And just like I've learned so much after 8 years, 8 years, not 8 journeys, 4 years, twice a year I do these journeys. So
Hmm.
8 journeys, and of course my understanding of these territories and understanding of the circuits and understanding of the color magic has changed and deepened. So yeah, I need to sit down and do some writing, and after I've done the writing, I can like maybe record the material to be also a bit more snappy and more succinct and more modular. Because to be honest, I mean, you called me out on that as well. That some of the videos were like info dumpy, and they were for sure because I also recorded them in a time where I was separating from my partner and I was dissociating from my own pain into creative output, like manic creative output. I was recording, I was doing presentations. These presentations were the 5 videos per week. I'm doing them in English first, and I spent like a day or 1.5 day just clicking the presentations and then recording them in English and translating them into German and recording them again in German. So I did like 10 videos a week.
Yeah. So the
Plus the presentations. You can imagine, like, of course it was my brain info dumping.
yeah, yeah, it was. But I think, and now also with the Substack, you've been kind of learning new ways to present your points of view. Um, and I think there's a, yeah, we're in for an overhaul also of the workflow in that, and I'm looking forward to see it. Um, yeah, so and maybe already unsubbed time to have like tried to, like, I know that AI is interesting with it, but I am allergic to slop, and it can be difficult to, it can be tricky to, but at the same time I think it's very important to use AI to kind of especially when you've been cultivating one specifically the way you have been, that it can be interesting to have it read the material and like give feedback and change things. I don't know.
Well, I plan to like the posts that I'm gonna do on my personal blog to do them without the AI completely, just like write my own
Yeah.
thing, like very raw stuff. But the things that I write for the Chaos Compass, the like the teachings and the stuff, what I've been doing is that I ask it to prompt me, like
Hmm.
to structure 5 points, and then prompt me, and then I go down to writing, and then I ask it to give me some reviews and propose some edits, and then I take some edits from it, but I don't let it write it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's a very good way to do it. Um, interesting.
I let it tell me like what works, what's not working, and then yeah, I ask it to give me some suggestions for landing the punches better,
Hmm.
for making the flow a bit more readable, something like that. So like I use it as my editor, as I would like. I mean,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
So
Yeah, no,
as
I mean, I remember because also this, you also use it to cut the short videos of the podcast afterwards
yeah,
because we get the transcript.
yeah.
Okay, well,
That's it for tonight. I would say, yeah. Let's wrap
yeah,
it up. So a lot of good stuff coming in the next season. We have the next season of the Hidden Treasure. We have the next season also of the Cosmic Customer Care is gonna happen May 5th. So there is a lot of endings and a lot of new beginnings. So this is the end of season one, the eighth episode, and the beginning of a new journey, the beginning of a new season, the beginning of a new adventure, and the beginning of a lot of new transmissions also for the eight circuit brain model stuff.
Yeah. So, see you next week for the. Yeah, see you next week, you and also the audience. Hi. See you all next week for another episode of the season two of the Hidden Treasures, where we are going on another Pipilotta quest. Oh dear, oh
Oh
dear.
dear. What did you get yourself into again?
I really, yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. But it will be great.
It will be good.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
love
excited.
that you're back on board and that we can do this together and that we're in this exploratory podcasting journey together as well.
Uh huh.
So
Yes, indeed.
looking forward to it. Good night, Captain Obvious. Good night,
Bye,
audience.
guys. See
See you around.
you.